What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Fred Hurt here, 901, back with you another video. Well, it is a rainy day here in Memphis, Tennessee, and it seems like the sun comes out here and there, but hey, I decided to make this video with it and to finish up what I was talking about yesterday by breaking the generational curse, and also mix in some things dealing with the GMO foods we eating and uh, the water we're drinking and all the influence on TV. So, also, of course, promote my coffee and tea brand, FSJ. It's the website is in the community post, so you guys, go check that out as well. And yeah, got some more of my products here. Here, the Cowboy Blend is one of my favorite brands right here. Cowboy Blend is good, great coffee. And Holiday Blend, yeah, nice. Holiday Blend is very good as well. And another package of all the coffee samples. We got Peru, Mexico, Colombia, Kenya, all kinds of brands up in this variety pack. So it's one of my favorites as well. So you guys go check that out in the community post. So. And I'm always promoting myself. That's how I got on social media, a long time ago, dealing with fitness and dealing with other subjects and stuff like that about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I've been on social media since 2012. So, and YouTube has been about 2014, 2015. So I've been around for a while. And I just wanted to piggyback and talk to you guys about what I was talking about the other day about the generational curses. Well, I never told nobody about this story. When I was 20, I fell asleep on my grandmother's couch. And I had a dream where I was at a restaurant and I had about 50 people surrounding me. Now, of course, I didn't know what that was. I thought it was just a family gathering or something, but found out that people were gathering around me like they having a sacrifice. And that's the premonition God showed me at 20 years old. I'm 42 now, not 82, 42. Okay, I'm still a young man. I know I sound older, but hey, I had to grow up a lot faster than, people who had to grow up faster and the parents didn't go above and beyond the way they supposed to, had to grow up faster a lot, than if you know, I put it like that. But yeah, they were sitting up there staring at me like they about to, back in the day, they used to have nuisance hanging up and people just watching a crucifix or sacrifice, somebody get hung. That's how it looked. Found out that, and that dream really scared me at 20 years old. At that time, I was modeling. At that time, I didn't understand what it was, but I know it was scary. And somebody put their hand around my neck, and they tried to break my neck when I was a child. Tried to break my neck. And everybody just sat back and watched. They didn't help. And see, that's what God stepped in. He was telling me to prepare me for this time where people was going to crucify me in the public. But he was letting me know, yeah, the weapon's going to form, but they're not going to prosper against me. That's what that message was. But I was very scared at that time at 20. Now I understand at 42 years old, in the past decade of what I experienced, what was going on behind the scenes. When you speak a lot of truth, I just got tired of holding in what I was feeling. I just got tired of it. I really did. And once I realized what that message was, and God gave me the premonition at 20 years old, what I was going to deal with in the future, it just blew my mind. It was just like, wow, man. Through a lot of time, you'd be like, man, why I got to go through all this foolish? Because when you have generations who either sold you out or sold the bloodline out, or you have a generation just refuses to do what they're supposed to do, you're going to stay stuck or stay stagnated. And if you say, well, I want to do something different, you got to fight like hell and you got to sacrifice like hell to get what you're trying to get to. And that's what I did. I've sacrificed, I've fought tooth and nails, been to hell and back my whole life. At times, I'm 42, but at times I feel 80 because of so much I had to go through. And I shouldn't have to. But I'm still here. And I ain't going nowhere no time soon either. So that's why people are like, man, why you so no nonsense? Why you? I said, dude, yo, people really fully don't understand until they walk in your shoes, truly walk in your shoes all the way. They don't know people's pain. And you're like, well, we got therapy now. Yeah, but you got to understand, it ain't just happened within 10 years. You got to realize when you're growing, I'm an 82 baby. I'm an 80s baby. When you grew up at the time I grew up, and older people know what I'm talking about. You had to sit on that trauma. You had to sit on a lot of stuff. You had to put the feelings in the back pocket and keep it moving. But they never taught you how to release that in a positive way. And I had to learn how to release it in a positive way. That's why I got into sports. That's why I got into modeling. That's why I figure if I get into some of these things, that's why I got into bodybuilding when I, years ago. That's why I got into acting. That's why I got into any kind of entertainment I was thinking about, sports, whatever, to combat that trauma, to combat those issues, those problems, and all that stuff. And going to church. Been going to church since I was 10 years old. But my folks muddied the water, muddied the church because it seemed like it wasn't working at the time. You're hearing it, you're going, but they weren't applying it. So it was like, what do we? Of course, as I got older, found out it was just a place to gather, fellowship. They really didn't believe in them. They really did. It is what it is. The cat is out of the bag. It is what it is, but it needs to be said, man. Most people don't even believe in God. And I know there's a God because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't God. I felt like John Connor off Terminator my whole life. And they be like, well, John Connor had Sarah. John Connor had Arnold. And my whole life, I didn't have neither one of them. I just felt alone out here. Until I met my wife, of course. And I don't have any children. So those rumors talking about I got kids and I don't have any children. Okay? I'm 42, no kids. Not one. See, that's why I keep telling people, I'm like, how you going to talk about somebody's life? You didn't ask questions about to the original person. You're just making up stuff because you're projecting who you are onto me. That's your life, not mine. I understand I'm black. I understand you're trying to project stuff off. That's your life, not mine. I'm the exception to the rule. Okay? There are exceptions. I don't have baby mama drama. Boy, I tell you, man. But yeah. People, man, it just, I just got to set the record straight, man, and like I said, I felt like John Connor my whole life. You're the leader of this, you're the leader of that, you're too important, and so on. So I don't feel important. I feel like, Terminators coming after me left and right, negativity after negativity. And don't get me wrong, God is on my side. The Almighty is on my side. And yes, they said that's all you need. But when you don't see human beings being on your side, standing up for you, fighting for you, and all you see is number negative people coming after you, ready to attack you, ready to kill you, and then take your identity and act like you don't even exist. That's a lot to process. That's a lot to process, man. That is a lot to process. And I wouldn't wish that on no child, nobody. I wouldn't wish that on nobody. Feeling like John Connor without honor or his mother to protect him. You just out here amongst Terminators. You got to figure things out on the fly. Otherwise, it's going to cost you your life. That's the worst feeling in the world. It's like getting dumped in the Pacific Ocean with no life raft, and you got to swim to somewhere, and and they just dump you in there, and everybody leave without a life raft. Y'all think about that for a moment. So when the next time I tell folks, man, about you don't know what it is to be in somebody's shoes. You're going off of he say, she say, without going to the source and seeing, oh, is this for real? It's a little warm out here, y'all. I got the window down, but Memphis 10, summertime heat. Yeah, it's all good. I love my city. Memphis 10. Memphis, Tennessee. I love my city. I love my state. So, but that was just to piggyback off what I was saying about the generational curse. I never told that story, not even to my wife. About my dream when I was 20, and I finally just came out publicly saying something about it. So I had a premonition this was going to happen one day. I just didn't know it was going to be this severe, man. It was, things are a lot better now, but it should never happen in the first place. Is what I guess what I'm saying, So, but it is what it is. I'm still here in real life. I'm not a robot. I'm not AI. I am a real person from Memphis, Tennessee. This is a real person. I don't. So, but yeah, the topic about the GMO foods. Are these foods and this water is decreasing our intelligence as human beings and increasing the intelligence of animals? Let's talk about that. I did some Googling on certain topics and I seen videos about animals open up doors they shouldn't know how to open. And it seemed like with our intelligence as human beings is decreasing while theirs increasing, but we all eat pretty much the same food. A lot of stuff is not organic unless it's coming from the soil. And this day and time, we're not even sure, even by coming from the soil, they mess with the seeds. So, so now we got to supplement on vitamins. I do my best to take my vitamins every day. And I'm seeing these animals, bears in California and Northwest, open up car doors and, houses. How are they getting this smart? Boy, it seems like we decreasing. We getting unsmart. So it's crazy what's going on out here. It seems like everything is just getting switched in reverse. We seeing young men in New Orleans, all over the country, wearing skirts. What the hell is going on? Men don't want to be men. Women don't want to be women. What is going on? Don't know what's going on. So it's crazy. Dudes wearing dresses, parading around like it's a badge of honor. No shame. Now, if you part of LGBTQ, the alphabet community, that's different. But dudes who's supposed to be straight up like a man's man, no, we don't wear dresses. And they smiling and flexing. They supposed to be the man's man. They all built muscular and everything. You be like, dude, I am a man. I don't understand. I don't understand, man. It's just like they wearing dresses. I mean, with pride too. With pride, you know. So it's like, so I'm sitting here like, wow, man, this is insane. This is insane. So, but it's a lot going on. Of course, you know, Trump, you know, with the he doing his tariff thing, you know, political, you know. I just with Zelensky and Ukraine, and there's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot going on in the world, man. So I just want to do this quick video, just to continue, gotta give you a little update. Finish off what I was talking about in the last video, and man, we just gotta be careful out here, but stay prayed up. And whether folks want to accept or not, God is real. You know, God is real. And once I told somebody else, just because you believe in God doesn't mean you belong in God's pulpit. David was not a pastor. David was a king. King David in the Bible. Moses was a leader, but he wasn't no pastor. He wasn't no deacon. Joseph was a leader, but he wasn't no pastor. So what I keep telling people, just because God chooses you doesn't mean you're supposed to be in his pulpit. You could be one of his messengers without being in his pulpit. So we have to stop going all or nothing. We have to stop doing that. Everybody can't be a pastor. Everybody can't be a deacon. Some people got to be an usher. Some people got to be in the choir. You got to know who you are and where you fit in it, not somebody else. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there. Stay blessed. Peace. I'll see y'all on the next video.